a very good morning and hope you are all having a very good Jubilee and Derby weekend, which is the most important thing, which kicks into action today. The action on the Downs gets underway, starting off with the Epsom Oaks for the fillies, Group 1 over the 1.5 miles. That's a very good race. And myself and Ginger Joe over on his channel have previewed some of the weekend actions. So if you search Ginger Joe into YouTube, you can see some of my tip selections for the weekend over there. And we also do have a little bit of a Discord group, so if you want some more tips, comment yes or something in all capitals down below and I'll get you a link sent over. But on my channel today, away from that, we do have a £25 challenge up for grabs. It's going to be a tough one and I'm feeling a bit below the weather, so if you want to just stick that knife into my heart even further, then you can win £25 and take it away from me by tipping the winners of the 2 o'clock at Epsom Downs, the 2:35, and then finally to seal off the cash, if you can pick the winner of the 3:45 as well, then £25 cash will be coming your way to one lucky person, I should stress, if you manage to pick all the winners. Now we're going to start off previewing some of the action at Epsom Downs, starting off in the 2 o'clock, the Woodcut, and I think Commander Strike is an interesting horse in this. He was a very promising debut at Newbury and he got beaten by what I thought was a potential superstar in Boig, I think it's pronounced, but that disappointed next time. Maybe we didn't see the winner to full light there. It was well beaten in the end, Commander Striker, but then it bounced back at Bath and it won pretty comfortably in the end from Estate, who does reoppose today. That's 6-1 in the market. Commander Striker is 5-1 in the market. Now, I feel like Estate might be a little bit shorter than perhaps this horse should be, because Commander Striker won pretty convincingly that day. Won by, I think it was 2 lengths, but always looked in command. And I think that would be the better horse out of the two. On that race as well, Silencer at 11-2 have made it quite vocal elsewhere that I think this horse is way too short in the market. I'm not having this at all, least because it only ran on the 28th of May. Sometimes 2-year-olds, you want a nice lengthy gap between races so they can bring out improvement and come forward. I mean, I think the 6 furlongs will probably suit more than the 5 furlongs that this horse ran over the other day, but still maybe a little bit too short in the market. And also at an each way price, I think Self-Poise is one open to a little bit more improvement. It was a decent second at Chester, beating the opposing Blatant by 3/4 of a length. Could that form be turned around? I think it easily could be, but I still think Hugo Palmer's looking to continue the very good start he's had at Manor House Stables. It wouldn't be a surprise if, when teaming up with Danny Tudor, this horse runs a big one at 9-1. Moving on to the 2:35, and you can discount all of the ones that are shorter price. I do actually quite fancy one at a huge price here. Hartswood is as big as 40-1 in places, but I think he's actually potentially well handicapped. He won off a mark of 94 at Newcastle over the mile. He slipped down to a mark of 90, and although his last run was probably quite disappointing into last, he was beaten a long way that day. Didn't have the most room under Connor Merter, and if you look at the winner Excel Power, who reopposes, this Hartswood is nearly a stone better off. You feel like if things go this horse's way, drawn in stall 1, Richard Fahey would get them ready for the big one, and Richard Fahey teams up with a new jockey, as I'm sure you've all seen the connection with Paul Hannigan as split, so the new jockey's coming in, they'll be trying to get winners on the board. And I think this horse has kind of been a little bit rusty this season. He hasn't got up to his 100% fitness yet. You've seen that in both runs. As a result, his handicap mark has come down. He's down to a pretty workable mark, running it off 90, and at 40-1, some bookmakers will be going 5 places, maybe even 6 places, I'm not sure, but definitely 40-1 is available for 5 places, and he'd be one of my more interesting and stronger fancied selections. But of course, it's only worth small stakes at a big price. Moving on to the Coronation Cup, and I think Manabo does have to prove himself. He's 2-1 favourite, and I wouldn't say he's the strongest favourite on the day. One of the more likely ones to be turned over. He has looked good when winning his first 5 stars, but then he was put in his place at Maidan by Stay Foolish. It was a Group 2. It wasn't the strongest race of all time if you look at some of the horses that weren't too far in behind. Alanak, Passion and Glory, Volcanic Sky. These aren't the best horses in the world. I think Manabo will have to improve a little bit further if he is to win his first Group 1 in the UK. Pile Driver is one that comes after winning this race last year. He won it pretty nicely in the end under Martin Dwyer. Toughed it out against Al Arsi, who obviously does have question marks over his attitude, but it was a very good performance to win that day. Frankie Dettori keeps the ride after it wasn't his fault at Maidan that he got into a little bit of trouble. You just get the feeling he was caught 3 back on the rail, didn't have the most room, but he still finished 4th. And if you look at some of the horses in and around him that day, the form of that race is very strong. We have some international globetrotters in the shape of Yabia, who admittedly has disappointed since, but Authority, Alan Kia, Hukum was well beaten, Glory Vars, Dubai Honour, Dubai Future without a fight. There's some good animals in behind that day. I think the track definitely suits. He's won here before, and I can see this horse being a proper trier and getting the job done at just a shade bigger at 2-1, which makes this horse a little bit attractive at the prices. I've got no doubt Hukum is a very good horse, definitely a Group 1 horse on his day, but it's just if he's got the attitude. He's a little bit in and out of form. He's been a little bit suspect in some of his races where I think he'd go and win. Hasn't turned out to be, but Jim Crowley takes the ride. He's having a decent way of things at the minute, so he is definitely worth following. And quickly on to the 4:30. We're skipping out the 3:45. I don't want to give you any tips or clues because some of you might be winning £25 heading into that last race. But on to the 4:30, which is the big one, the Kazoo Oaks. John Gosden has 2. The one that's the most obvious one, Emily Upjohn, I'm not fully convinced by. There's something about Nashwa that I think we've got a serious animal on our hands here. Holly Doyle takes the ride in its 4th career run, and I think if the trip isn't too much of a problem, I don't think it will be. It hit the line pretty strongly at Newbury under Hands and Heels. There was a lot of style and substance about that performance, with Staler back in 2nd, Mukaddama back in 3rd. That's a decent horse as well for Roger Varian, who, on a side note, doesn't have too many good horses these days. This might be one of the better ones that he does have, but I think Nashwa is probably the one to beat. I mean, Emily Upjohn does set the standard, but I think I see a lot of people, and it's dangerous to go by what Twitter says sometimes, but there's a sense that there's something special in Nashwa. That's been shown in the market. I think about 9-2, 4-1 was available last night, clipped into 7-2, 10-3 in places. There's a little bit of support for Nashwa, and I can see why I think this horse is going to take a little bit of beating and could be something quite special. So that rounds up this video on day 1 at Epsom. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and get them entries in, and you could be winning £25 in cash. Do stick around for tomorrow's video previewing the Derby, because even though I've got some short priced fancies, there's one that very much interests me, as big as 33-1 in places. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.